There. Time for the papers now. Dipti's here. She's starting with that surprise visit by Ukraine's leader, Volodymyr Zelensky, to the US today.
Yeah, a visit that was shrouded in quite a bit of mystery. It's been confirmed now that that very daring mission, as the New York Times puts it, Volodymyr Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, will be is going to be in the US meeting with Joe Biden, addressing Congress in person. The two leaders will also be making a joint statement, and we're expecting announcements around U.S. military aid to Ukraine. So this is a really big deal, especially since for Zelensky, as the New York Times explains, this is his first overseas trip since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So it is really like a wartime leader who's visiting the U.S. As we speak this Wednesday.
British magazine you found, Dipti. This is a piece in The Economist naming Ukraine as the country of the year in its edition today.
Yeah, The Economist explains that usually picking the country of the year is actually very difficult because the criteria is which country has dramatically improved in the past 12 months. And technically speaking, we can't say that is the case for Ukraine because for all their citizens' life has gotten worse in at least the last 10 months. However, you can understand the symbolism of picking Ukraine. The Economist explaining that this year's decision was blindingly obvious for them. Ukraine is 2022's country of the year. The magazine hailing Ukrainians for their heroism, for their ingenuity, their resilience and inspiration, beginning with the president, of course. And on the back of that, the magazine Foreign Policy is also looking back at the year of 2022, noting that it was also the year in which the good guys struck back after a decade of authoritarianism and dictatorship, from Emmanuel Macron's re-election to the defeat of Jair Bolsonaro to protests in Iran and China.
Let's have something else for you now. The US has not had an Indian ambassador in nearly 2 years. Now, this is the focus of an article in the New York Times.
Yeah, and I'm surprised because we haven't heard about this in the press, and it seems like a very big deal. It's a fascinating article from the New York Times today, which explains that since January 2021, when the previous U.S. ambassador Kenneth Juster's term came to an end, the post has not been filled, or rather not been able to be filled. The article doesn't give us the whys. It just explains the context and symbolism of this. The U.S. Interests in India have been managed by a succession of chargés d'affaires with great repercussions, Times explains, on political relationships. Historically, the U.S. ambassador in India, dating back to Indian independence, has helped sort of sway U.S. business interests across all domains. Obviously, India is a technology hub, but it is also a major world vaccine supplier. Furthermore, as China's influence rises in the region, the U.S. has also grown closer to India to sort of counter that influence. So it's all the more surprising that the post of ambassador in the world's most populous country has not been fulfilled. The Times also explains that the absence of an ambassador might even suit Indian policymakers, who have now thus far been able to avoid careful scrutiny of domestic affairs. Definitely worth reading this one.
Yeah, perhaps one to follow too. Now, some football and social media news as well. Argentinians, of course, celebrating yesterday the return of their football heroes home after winning the World Cup title. One post, though, has now become the most liked picture on Instagram ever, isn't it?
Yeah, it was inevitable, really. That post was posted by Lionel Messi, and it contains several pictures of him with the trophy and his team after their win on Sunday. Stuart, the post has now become the most liked post on Instagram ever, with over 68 million likes. 68 million, that's a lot. Notably, though, and this is perhaps the most surprising part of the story, is it has dethroned the previous record holder, whom you see here. This is a world record egg. It was a post of a plain egg that started as a gag to surprise. This was back in 2019. It was this person put this pictures asking people to like it to surpass the then most liked post on Instagram, which was that of by Kylie Jenner. So the egg succeeded in amassing 57 million likes. It's now been poached by Messi himself, who of course was pivotal in Argentina beating France on Sunday. Anyway,
Shall I make my yolk again?
yes, please do.
I did it earlier, so I'll make my yolk
might as
again.
well,
Yeah,
yolk
go on.
again.
Carry on.
Anyways, Instagram users have also been taunting the egg. One user saying that Messi has now scrambled that egg.
Very nice. That's enough egg jokes. Thank you very much. Finally, from Dipti, this is a very important one. In the morning, actually, I like a good cup of coffee. In the afternoon, though, nothing like a cup of tea and perhaps a biscuit to dink in it. What is the best biscuit, though, to dunk into your cup of tea?
Well, this is a very important study entitled Dunks, Direct Uptake of Nutrition and Caffeine.
Right.
It was conducted to better inform British National Health Service staff of which biscuit to use when they are having a tea break. The objective was not just identifying the biscuit to dip your tea into in terms of nutritional content and crunchiness, but also the optimal time needed to make your cup of tea so that you don't burn your mouth. In what sounds like the best experiment ever, doctors trialed different varieties of plain biscuits. So you had oat, digestive, tea, and shortbread. It turns out that oat biscuits are the best to dunk into your tea with the best, what they call dunk break point, lasting a whole half a minute dipped in tea before it sort of fell apart.
Yeah, that's the problem when it all goes bleh.
Exactly, because my favorite biscuits are the shortbread ones, the really rich, flimsy ones that pretty much disintegrate into your tea as soon as you dip them in there.
I love a good custard cream or a bourbon biscuit. If you're British, you'll know what I'm talking about. Probably the rest of the world, I don't know.
No idea.
No idea.
The custard I got. The
custard
other one,
cream
no.
is very nice. And I think they're pretty solid as well.
Yeah.
You'll be all right. Dipti. She's so scientific. Dipti, go wrong over the papers, Hot Fries 24. That's the latest news. More coming up very, very shortly, so stay with us.